Hello, my friends. Whoa. Oh, I thought my glass cracked. What a wonderful day. I guess, no, that's not a crack, huh? Wonderful, beautiful day out. If every day of the year was like this, I would be super happy. And I don't know if you guys know, but maybe throw an extra blanket on tonight because it's supposed to get pretty cold out tonight. And oh no, there it is. Ooh, I thought I lost our. I thought I lost our bookmark. It's supposed to get really cold out tonight. And this weekend, I think it's only supposed to get up to be like 62 or 63 all weekend. And that to me is perfect camping weather. And you probably hear Stella in the background doing a little extra cleaning in the living room today. And I found her a bunch of toys that she of course whacked under the chairs and stuff. But anywho, I hope everybody's doing good. Last night we left off and let's see. Oh, that's right. Marina had found out accidentally one of her powers, right? One of her legacies. One of her legacies is that she can breathe underwater. So she was kind of having this flashback, the ability to breathe underwater. I found it only because I was pushed to the brink of death. I don't want to be found just yet by the girls diving into the water looking for me. So I let myself drift down to the deep bottom, and the world slowly fading to black, until my feet finally sink into the cold mud. I can see through the brown, murky water once my eyes adjust. 10 minutes pass, then 20. Finally, the girls swim away from the dock. I assume the lunch bell's been rung. I wait until I'm absolutely sure they've all left. Then I walk slowly along the lake's bottom towards the shore, my feet sinking into the mud as I inch forward. After a while, the icy water begins to warm and brighten, and the mud segues, to rocks and then the sand, and then finally my head emerges. I listen to the girls, La Gorda and Benita included, scream and splash towards me in relief. I take inventory of myself on the shore, noticing a gash on my shoulder is bleeding, leaving a trail of blood down my arm in the shape of a subtle S. The sisters make me sit and rest for the rest of the afternoon at a picnic table under a tree. But excuse me, I didn't mind. I had another legacy. So in the bathroom, she's back now in present day. Right, Stella? Huh? You gotta see Stella. Hey. What's going on? You probably can't tell, but she's pushing back. She is a little princess. Ugh. Huh. Are you a princess? So back in present day. In the bathroom, Ella catches me watching the toothpaste run down her arm in the mirror. She looks embarrassed, and she tries to replicate the way I brush my teeth. Even more frothy toothpaste pours from her mouth. You're like a bubble factory, I say with a smile, grabbing a towel to clean her up. We leave the bathroom as the others are arriving. Dress quickly in the room, and we walk out as if the others are coming in. We want to just keep ahead of the group, as I prefer to typically do. We grab our lunches from the cafeteria. We head out into the cold morning. I eat my apple on the walk to school. Ella does the same. I'm about 10 minutes early today, which will give me a little time to go on the internet to see if there's anything new about John Smith. The thought of it makes me smile. Why are you smiling? Do you like school? Ella asks. I look over at her. The half-eaten apple looks big in her small hand. It's a nice morning, I guess, I say, and I have good company today. Oh, yeah. We walk through town. Excuse me. We walk through town as street vendors set up shop. The snow hasn't melted and is piled along both sides of Calais Principal. But the road itself is clear, and up ahead on the right, Hector Ricardo's front door opens, and out comes his mother in a wheelchair, being pushed by Hector. She's had Parkinson's disease for a very long time, and she's been in a wheelchair for the last 5 years. She's been unable to speak for the last 3. He positions her in a sliver of sunlight and applies her wheel brakes. While the sun seems to bring her some comfort, Hector slinks away and sits at the table, dropping his head. Good morning, Hector, I call out. He lifts his head and squints one eye open. He waves with a shaky hand. Marina, as of the sea, he croaks. The only limits of tomorrow are the doubts we have today. I stop and smile, and Ella stops too. That's one of your better ones, I say. No doubt, Hector. He has a few nuggets left. I'm sorry. No doubt, Hector. He has a few nuggets left, he says. Are you doing okay? Strength, confidence, humility, love. Hector Rodrigo's 4 tenets of a happy life, he says, which makes no sense whatsoever considering the question I asked. But it makes me feel good anyways. He turns his gaze on Ella. And who's this little angel? Ella grabs my hand and hides behind me. Her name is Ella, I say, looking down at her. This is Hector, and he is my friend. Hector is one of the good guys, he says, though Ella remains behind me. He waves at us as we walk the rest of the way to school. Do you know where you're going? I ask her. I have Senora Lopez's class, she says, smiling. Ah, you're a lucky girl. I had her too. She's one of the good ones in this town. Like Hector, I say. I'm devastated. All 3 of the school computers are occupied. A trio of young girls from town are desperately trying to finish a science assignment, their fingers flying across the keyboards. I coast through the day, keeping to myself as one thing runs through my mind. John Smith. He's on the run in America, somehow staying ahead of the law, and I'm stuck here in Santa Teresa, an old, moldy town where nothing happens. I'd always thought I'd leave when I turned 18, but now that John Smith is out there being hunted, I know I have to leave as soon as I can to join him. And the only question now is how to find him. My last class is Spanish history. The teacher drones on about General Francisco Franco and the Spanish Civil War of the 1930s. I tune her out and instead write in a notebook about John, what I know based on most of the recent articles I've read. John Smith lived 4 months in Paradise, Ohio, pulled over by an officer in Tennessee, driving a pickup truck, middle of the night, 2 other people around the same age. Where were they driving? ? One of the 2 people he was with is believed to be Sam Goody, also from Paradise, originally thought to be a hostage, now considered an accomplice. Who is the 3rd person? A girl with black hair. The girl in my dream black hair? Where is Henry? How did they get away from 2 helicopters and 35 police officers? How did the 2 helicopters crash? How can I contact him or the others? Post something on the internet? Too dangerous. Is there a way to do so that eludes the Mogs? If so, will any of the others even see it? John is on the run, ever checking internet? ? Does Adelina know something that I don't? ? Can I bring it up to her without being obvious? ? The pen hovers over the page, and the internet and Adelina My only two ideas, neither of which seem promising. What more can I do, though? Everything else seems as futile as walking up the mountain and sending smoke signals into the air. But I can't help but feel I'm missing something, some crucial element that's so obvious it's staring me right in the face. The teacher drones on, and I close my eyes and I think it all through. 9 guard, 9 CPAN, an airship that brought us to Earth, the same airship to take us back eventually, hidden somewhere on Earth. All I remember about it is that we landed in a remote place in the midst of a thunderstorm. A charm was cast to protect us from the Mogadorians, which went into effect only when we scattered. And that only works if we stay apart from each other. But why? A charm that keeps us apart seems pretty counterintuitive in helping us fight and defeat the Mogadorians. What's the point in it? While asking myself this question, my mind stumbles on something else. I close my eyes. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, guys, and I let the logic carry me. We were meant to hide, but for how long? Until our legacies developed and we had the tools to fight, to win. That's one thing we're able to do when that first legacy finally arrives. The answer seems too obvious to be correct. With the pen still in my hand, I write the only answer that I can come up with. The chest. Chapter 10. I no longer sleep without nightmares. Every night I'm stricken by Sarah's face. There for only a second before it's swallowed by darkness, followed by her calling out for help. No matter how furiously I search, she's nowhere to be found. She keeps calling, a scared voice, bleak and alone. Stella just bit me. Ah! But I can never find her. Then there's Henry, his body twisted and smoking as he looks at me. Knowing our end together has finally come. It's never fear I see in his eyes, or regret, or sadness, but rather pride, relief, and love. He seems to tell me to go on, to fight, to win. Then, right at the end, his eyes widen in a plea for more time. Coming here to paradise, it wasn't by chance. He says again, and I still have no idea what that means. Then I wouldn't have missed a second of it, kiddo. Not for all of Lorien, not for the whole damn world. This is my curse, that every time I dream of Henry, I'm forced to watch him die over and over again. I see Lorien the days before the war, the jungles, the oceans I dreamed of 100 times. Myself as a kid running through the wild tall grass, while those around me smiled and laughed, unaware of the horrors to come. Then I see the war, the destruction, the killing and the blood. Sometimes on nights like tonight, I have distinct visions of what I believe is the future. My eyes aren't closed for long before I'm whisked away, and even as it begins, I feel myself entering a landscape I know I've never seen before, but still find it familiar. I run down a pathway lined with litter and debris, broken glass, burned plastic, twisted, rusted steel. Acrid mist fills my nose and causes my eyes to water. Decaying buildings stand tall against the gray sky. A dark, stagnant river lurks to my right. There's commotion up ahead. The sounds of yelling and metallic clattering swell in the thick air. I come to an angry mob surrounding a tarmac where a large airship prepares for takeoff. I go through the barbed wire gates and I enter the airstrip fenced off from the crowd. The tarmac is marked with small rivulets of color, the color of magma. Mogadorian soldiers keep the crowd at bay while swarms of scouts ready the ship, an onyx orb hovering in midair. The crowd roars against the fence as soldiers knock them back. They're smaller than the soldiers, but have the same ashy skin tone. A low rumble grows, and somewhere beyond the ship, the crowd hushes, taking panicked steep steps backwards. while those on the tarmac file into orderly lines. Then something drops from the hazy sky. A dark vortex absorbs the surrounding clouds, leaving a thick black discharge in its wake. I cover my ears before the object crashes to the ground, shooting vibrations through the soil that nearly knock me off my feet. Everything falls silent as the dust clears, revealing a perfectly spherical ship, milky white like a pearl. A round door slides open and a monstrous creature steps out, the same creature that tried to behead me in the rock castle. A brawl breaks out along the fence, with everyone scrambling to get away from this monster. He's even more enormous than I remember, with muscular, chiseled features and short cropped hair. Tattoos crawl up his arms. Scars are branded into his ankles, the largest of which stands out on his neck, grotesque and purple. A soldier retrieves a golden cane from the ship, its head curved like a hammer, a black eye painted on its side. When the creature holds it in his hand, the eye comes alive, rolling left and then right, taking in its surrounding until it finally finds me. The Magadorian scans the crowd, sensing me nearby. His eyes narrow. He takes a giant step towards me, lifting the golden cane. The eye pulses. Just then, an overlooker shouts at the Magadorians. Just then, an onlooker shouts at the Magadorians, furiously rustling the fence. The Magadorian turns toward the protester, thrusting the rod in his direction. The rod's eyes glow red, and the man is instantly ripped to shreds, torn through the barbed wire fence. Pandemonium erupts, and everyone fights to get away. The Magadorian returns his attention to me, pointing the rod at my head. I'm hit with the sensation of falling. Weightlessness rises in my gut until I'm on the brink of vomiting. What I see around his neck is so disturbing, so haunting, that I'm jolted awake as though struck by a bolt of blue lightning. Early dawn breaks through the windows, bathing the small room in a hard morning light. The shapes of things return. I'm sweat-covered and out of breath, and yet I'm here, the aching confusion in my heart telling me I'm still alive, no longer in a dreadful place where a man can be ripped through the small holes of a barbed wire fence. We found an abandoned house bordering a conservation area a few miles from Lake George. They have a Lake George there too. The kind of house Henry would have loved, isolated, small, and quiet, offering security without any personality. It's one story, an exterior painted lime green, while the interior is various shades of beige with brown carpeting. We couldn't be luckier that the water hasn't been turned off. By the heavy dust in the air, I can only assume it's been a while since anyone's lived here. I roll to my side and I glance at the phone beside my head. Having seen what I just did, the only thing that could take it away is Sarah. I remember the time in my room when she just returned from Colorado, the way we held each other. If I'm allowed to save a single moment with her, then I choose that one. I close my eyes and I imagine what she's doing at that very moment, what she's wearing, who she's talking to. The news reported that each of the 6 school districts surrounding Paradise absorbed a portion of the displaced students until a new building is built. I wonder which of them Sarah is attending, if she's still taking photographs. I reach for my cell phone, the one prepaid and registered under the name Julius Caesar. Henry's sense of humor. I turn it on for the first time in days. All I have to do is dial her number and hear her voice. It's that simple. I press the familiar numbers one by one until reaching the last. I close my eyes, I take a deep breath, then turn the phone off and I flip it shut. I know I can't punch the 10th number. Fear for Sarah's safety, for her life, and all of ours too. That's what stops me. Out in the living room, Sam streams CNN with one of Henry's laptops on his thighs. Luckily, Henry's wireless internet card, under whatever pseudonym he chose at the time, still works. Sam furiously scribbles notes on a legal pad. It's been 3 days since the mess in Tennessee, and we've only arrived in Florida last night. Having hopped aboard 3 different semis, one of which carried us 200 miles in the wrong direction before jumping a train that brought us here. Without the use of our legacies, our speed, Six's invincibility we would have never made it. It's our intent to lie low for a bit and let the news dissipate. We'll regroup, start training, and avoid any further mishaps like the one involving the helicopters at all costs. First order of business is to find a new car. Second order of business, figure out what to do next. None of us really knows for sure. Again, I feel the enormity of Henry's absence. Where's Six, I ask, stumbling into the living room. Out back swimming laps or something, Sam replies. The one cool thing about the house is the pool in the backyard, which Six immediately filled by directing a heavy rainstorm overhead. I think you'd at least want to catch, excuse me. Sorry. I'd think you'd want to catch a glimpse of Six in her bathing suit, I nudged Sam. His face reddened. Shut up, dude. I wanted to check the news, be productive. Anything, I ask? Aside from now being considered an accomplice and having the reward for me increased to $500,000, Sam asks. Oh, come on. You know you love it. Yeah, it's pretty cool, he says, grinning. Anyways, no, nothing new. I don't see how Henry kept up with all of this. There are literally thousands of stories every day. Henry never slept. Don't you want to go check out Six in her bathing suit? Sam asks, turning back to the screen. I'm surprised by the lack of sarcasm in his voice. He knows how I feel about Sarah, and I know how he feels about Six. What's that supposed to mean? I see the way you look at her, Sam says. He clicks on a link about a crash in Kenya, one survivor. And how do I look at her, Sam? Never mind. The survivor is an old woman, definitely not one of us. The Lorik fall in love for life, man. I love Sarah, you know that. Sam looks over the screen of the laptop. I know you do. It's just that. I don't know. You're the kind of guy she'd go for, not some math nerd obsessed with aliens in outer space. I just don't see how Six could fall for someone like me. You kick ass, Sam. And don't forget it. I walk out the rear sliding glass door leading to the pool. Beyond the pool lies an overgrown yard enclosed by a brick wall, offering privacy from anyone who might wander by. The nearest neighbor is a quarter-mile away. The nearest town is a 10-minute drive. Six zips across the water, skimming the top like some waterborne insect. And beside her, going twice as fast, is a platypus-shaped mammal with long white hair and a beard. I have no idea what animal Bernie Kosar is copying. Six senses me and stops at the edge, pulling herself halfway out of the water and resting her arm on the deck. Bernie Kosar jumps out, refuses to, and returns to his eagle form, shaking himself dry and covering me with water. It's refreshing, and I can't help but think how nice it is to be down south again. You better not be killing my dog out there, I say, and I catch myself staring at her perfect shoulders, her slender neck. Maybe Sam is right. Maybe I am looking at Six the same way he does. I want more than ever to run back inside, turn on my phone, and hear Sarah's voice. More like he's killing me. The little guy swims like he's totally healed. Speaking of which, how's your head? Still hurts, I say, running my hand over it, but nothing I can't handle. I'm ready to start training today, if that's what you're asking. Good, she says. I'm getting antsy. It's been a long time since I've trained with somebody. You sure you don't want to train? You sure you still want to train with me? You'll probably end up hurt, right? She laughs, then she spits a mouthful of water at me. Oh, it's on, I say, visualizing the surface of the pool and forcing a blast of air over it. Water rushes towards her face. She dives beneath the surface to keep from being splashed, and when she comes up, she rides the crest of a huge wave that nearly empties the pool, bringing her towards me. Before I can react, she moves away, but the wave keeps coming, knocking me over and sending me crashing into the back of the house. I hear her laughing. The water recedes to the pool, and I stand and try pushing her backwards into it. She deflects my telekinesis, and all at once I'm upended and sailing through the air, upside down, where I flail helplessly. What the hell are you guys doing out here? Sam asks. He's standing at the sliding glass door. Six was talking smack, so I decided to put her in her place. Can't you tell? I remain upside down, hovering 4 feet over the pool's center. I can feel Six's grip around my right ankle, and the sensation is the same as if she were literally holding me up with one hand. Oh, totally. You're right where you want her, Sam replies. I was about to make my move, biding my time. So what do you think, Sam? Six asks. Should I let him have it? A smile breaks across Sam's face. Take it away. Hey, I say, before she lets go, and I fall headfirst into the water. When I resurface, Six and Sam are laughing hysterically. That was only round one, I say, climbing out. I peel off my shirt and I slap it on the concrete. You caught me off guard. Just wait. What happened to being tough and rugged? Sam asks. Isn't that what you said when you buzzed your head? Strategy, I say. It's just giving Six a false sense of security. Then when she gets comfortable, I'm going to pull the rug out from under her. Ha! Yeah, right, Sam says, and adds, God, I wish I had legacies. Six stands between us, her solid black one-piece bathing suit. She's still laughing. The water runs down her arms and legs, and she leans slightly forward and twists her hair to wring it out. The scar on her leg is still discolored, but it is nearly as purple as it was the week before. She whips her hair back over her head, and Sam and I are both mesmerized. So, training this afternoon then, Six asks, or do you still feel like I might get hurt? I puff my cheeks and release the air slowly. Maybe I'll take it easy on you. I mean, that scar on your leg still kind of looks nasty. But yeah, we're on. Sam, is that a yes for you too? You guys want me to train? Seriously? Of course. You're one of us now, Six says. He nods, rubbing his hands together. I'm in, he says, grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. But if you just want me to be target practice, I'm going home, he says. We start at 2 o'clock. But the look of the gloomy sky, I don't anticipate training for very long. Sam bounces the balls on his feet. Sam bounces on the balls of his feet, wearing gym shorts and an oversized tee. He's all knees and elbows, but if heart and determination could be counted, I think he'd be nearly the size of a Magadorian I'd seen on board the ship. To start, Six shows us what she's learned of combat techniques, which is far more than I know. Her body moves fluidly and with precision of a machine when she throws a kick or a punch. When she does a backflip to evade an attack, she shows us how to counter assault and the merits of skill and coordination, and drills the same maneuvers until they come instinctively. Sam eats it up, even when Six pounds him backwards and he flips over her head over heels or has the wind knocked out of him. She does the same to me, or even though I'm laughing it off like I'm playing around. I work my hardest, and she still kicks the crap out of me. I can't fathom how she learned all of this on her own. After my mouth is filled with grass and dirt for the second time, I realize just how much I can learn from her. The rain begins about a half hour later, A light drizzle at first, but soon the skies open, sending us indoors for cover. Sam paces through the house, throwing kicks and punches at phantom enemies. I sit in the chair, my fists around my blue pendant. The stare out of the front window, and I stare out of the front window for a very long time, simply watching it all happen while remembering that the last two storms I saw both raged, because Six told them to. When I turn back, I see that she's sound asleep in the corner of the living room, curled around Bernie Kosar, holding him in her arms like a pillow. It's how she always sleeps, wrapping herself into a ball on her side, her features losing their sharp edges. The white bottoms of her feet are aimed right at me, and I use telekinesis to lightly tickle the bottom of her right foot. She twitches as though shooting a pesky fly. I tickle her again. She twitches her foot a little harder. I wait a few seconds, and then, as softly as I can, I tickle the length of her foot, from her heel to her big toe. Six pulls her foot back and kicks her leg straight out, the telekinetic force of which sends me flying into the nearest wall, leaving a hole revealing the interior wires and studs. Sam charges into the room and jumps into the perfect fighting position. "What happened? Who's here?" he yells. I stand, rubbing my elbows, which took the brunt of the hit. "Jerk," Six says, sitting up. Sam looks from me to her. "You guys are ridiculous," he says, retreating back to the kitchen. "Your flirting just scared the hell out of me." "Scared the hell out of me too," I say, ignoring the flirting comment, but he's already gone and doesn't hear it. Am I flirting? Would Sarah think that was flirting? Six yawns, raising her arms to the ceiling. "Still raining?" "Totally. But look on the bright side. The weather saved you from any further bruises." She shakes her head. "The tough guy routine is pretty tired, Johnny, and don't forget what I can do with the weather." "Wouldn't dream of it," I say. I try to change the subject. I hate myself for flirting with another girl. "Hey, I've been meaning to ask you, who's the face in the clouds? Every time I see you whip up the storm, I see this crazy, ominous face." She scratches the bottom of her right foot. "I'm not sure, but ever since I've been able to mess with the weather, it's always the same face that appears. I assume it's Aloric." "Yeah, probably. And here I thought it might be a crazy ex-boyfriend you've yet to get over. Because obviously I have a weakness for 90-year-old men. You know me well, John." I shrug and both of us smile. That night I cooked dinner on a rusty but serviceable grill left on the back patio. Or try to cook, I guess. Since I took home economics with Sarah in Paradise, I'm only one who knows how to make anything remotely resembling a meal. Tonight, chicken breasts, potatoes, and frozen pepperoni pizza. We're sitting on the living room carpet in a triangle under a blanket Six is draped over her head and body. She wears a black tank top, and her pendant hangs in full view. The sight of it returns my mind to the vision I had. I long for a normal dinner around a table and a normal night's sleep where I'm not tortured by my Loric past. Was that what it was like on Lorien before we left? "Do you think about your parents a lot?" I ask Six. "Back on Lorien, I mean?" "Not that much anymore. I can't even tell you what they look like. Really, I remember how it felt being near them, though. If that makes any sense. I think about that feeling quite a bit, I guess. What about you?" I picked up a burned slice of pizza. I resolved never to cook frozen pizza on a grill again. I see them a lot in my dreams, which is really great. But at the same time, it tears me up inside. Reminds me that they're dead. The blanket slides off the top of Six's head and rests on her shoulders. "What about you, Sam? Do you miss your parents right now?" Sam opens his mouth and he closes it. I can tell he's considering telling Six that he thinks his dad was taken by aliens, abducted when he went out for milk and bread. Finally, he says, "I miss them both, my mom and dad. But I know that I'm better off here with you guys. Considering what I know about everything, I don't think I could be at home." Boy, this is a long. It's a long chapter. We're almost there. What are we doing on time? What are we doing on time? What? Yeah, we can push. We can push and finish this up. You know too much, I say. I feel guilty he's eating my terrible meal on the floor of an abandoned house instead of feasting on his mother's food at a dining table. Sam, I'm sorry you got caught up in all this with us, Six says, but it's nice that you're here. He blushes. I don't know what it is, but I feel a weird connection to the whole situation. Can I ask you something? How far away is Magador from Earth? I think back to when Henry blew on the 7 glass orbs, how they came to life. Soon we were looking at a floating replica of our solar system. It's a lot closer than Lorien is. Why? Sam stands. How long would it take to get there? A few months, maybe, Six says. Depends on what type of ship you're flying and what type of energy it uses. Walking in circles, Sam says, I think the U.S. government has to have a ship built somewhere that can handle that distance. I'm sure it's a prototype and top secret and hidden under a mountain. That's hidden under a mountain. But I was just thinking about what would happen if we could find your ship and needed to take a flight to them. Go to Magador. We have to have a plan B, right? Sure. What's plan A again? I ask, biting my tongue. I can't fathom fighting the whole planet of Magador on their own turf. Getting my chest, Six says. She pulls the blanket back over her head. And then what? Training? And then what? I ask. We go find the others, I guess. It just sounds like a bunch of running and not much of anything else. I think Henry or Katerina would have us doing something more productive somehow, like studying how to kill certain enemies. Do you know what a piken is? Excuse me, got a piece of ice. Those are the huge beasts that destroyed the school, Six says. What about a crawl? Those are the smaller animal things that attacked us in the gymnasium, she says. Why? In a dream that I had in North Carolina when you and Sam heard me speaking Magadorian, those 2 names were mentioned, but I never heard of them before. Henry and I simply called them the beasts. I paused. I had another dream earlier. Maybe you aren't having dreams, she says. Maybe you're having visions again. I nod. It's hard to tell the difference at this point. I mean, these dreams felt the same as the visions I had on Lorien, but I had of Lorien. But I wasn't on Lorien during these 2. Henry once said that when I have visions, it's because they hold some sort of personal significance to me. And that always had been true. The past visions were always of things that had already happened. But I think what I witnessed in my dream this morning, I don't know. It feels like I was seeing it as it actually happened. Wicked, Sam says. You're like a TV. Six crumples her paper towel and tosses it up in the air above her head. Without thinking, I set it on fire, and it wilts into nothing before landing on the carpet. Then Six says, it's not possible, John. Some of the Loric have been known to do it. That's what Katerina went. Oh, it's not impossible, John. That's what Katerina said anyway. But the thing is, I think I was on Magador, which, by the way, is just as disgusting as I imagined it would be. The air was thick. It made my eyes water. Everything was desolate and gray. But how did I get there? And how could this one huge dude on Magador seem to sense that I was there? Huge, like more than double the size of the soldiers I saw. 20 feet tall, maybe more, far more intelligent and powerful. I can tell just by looking at him. He was definitely a leader of some sort. I've seen him twice now. The first time, I was overhearing information relayed to him by some person like a little peon. And I was all about us and what it was all about us and what happened at the school. The second time I saw him as he was preparing to board a ship. But before he was on it, one of the others ran up and handed him something. I didn't know what it was at first, But just before the ship's door closed, he turned towards me to make sure I could see exactly what it was. What was it, Sam asks. I shake my head and I ball up my paper towel. I burn it on the palm of my hand. I look out the back door at the setting sun. A blaze of orange and hot pink like the Florida sunsets Henry and I watched from our elevated porch. I wish he was still here to help me make sense of this all. John, what was it? What did he have? Six says. I lift my left hand and I grab my pennant. These. He had pennants. He had 3 of them. The Magadorians must have taken them after they kill each. After each kill. And this massive leader guy, or whoever he is, put them around his neck like Olympic medals. Then he stood there just long enough so I could see. Each one was glowing bright blue. And then I woke up. Mine was too. So are you saying it's like premonition? Like you just saw your fate? Or could you have just had like some weird dream because of how stressed out you are, Sam asks. I shake my head. I think Six is right, and these are all visions. And I think they are all happening right now. But the thing that scares me the most is that when that guy got on the ship, there's a good chance he was headed this way. And if Six is right about how fast a ship can travel, it won't be very long before he gets here. Chapter 11, page 131. We are cruising, my friends. We're like 30% way through the book. Holla! Oh, yeah. We are doing pretty darn good. All right. So, quick drink. So, it's official now, my friends. All overnight summer camps are canceled. So, in the state, day camps can operate under certain parameters. But now, today, New York State has decided all overnight summer camps, deuces. They are done. They are not happening. A lot of camps had already closed, like 4 or 5 weeks ago. I think our Boy Scout summer camp was like, yeah, we're done. We're not opening up. So it's kind of sad times. But it's, I guess I'm glad my sons are not seniors, not losing out totally on their last things, but part of it is moving on to something new as well. So I don't know. But anyways, today the state made it official. So the other thing that Governor Cuomo did today was he signed a bill which it brings more accountability to police departments. So first of all, police in New York State are no longer allowed to use chokeholds to restrain criminals. They can no longer use it, right? Doesn't matter what the criminal's doing, they can't use it. They've now gotten rid of immunity for police officers, meaning that they are just as responsible for their actions as anybody else. The other thing is that now if a police officer kills someone in the line of duty, the attorney general, so that means the state attorney general's office, the highest lawyer in the state, is now going to have jurisdiction over that case. So it's not going to be the district attorney. It's now going to be the top lawyer. Pardon me. That certainly elevates things a bit, guys. No doubt there. That's like, whoa, right? Now it's not going to be some little local rinky-dink court case. It's now going to be a state case. And it's going to be tried by someone that I don't know. and someone that I don't have any kind of local connection to. So that's a pretty big step. What else do we have in the news? We don't really have a ton of news today. More summer festivals. The Vermont Garlic Festival. What was the other festival? A couple festivals that I read. They all canceled today. The stock market was up a little today, but for the week it closed down. So, I said this the other day when the Fed locked in lower interest rates. That's not good, right? That's not good. Some people are like, yeah, but that's not good, right? The Fed wants to raise rates. They raise rates when people are more confident about spending their money. And right now, people aren't. So, and the market is reflective of that. So, what else do we have? Oh, this was interesting. So, across the country, and I've told you guys before, I work on a farm. I'm actually going to go work tomorrow morning. The next few Saturdays, I'm going to work, and then things really open up in the summertime. And, I work a lot more. But across the country, farms are reporting huge labor shortages. So either people don't want to work, or the people seasonal type employees are not coming to do the work. They're not able to enter the country to do the work, or they're not able to travel around to do the work because of what's going on. So, we live in a state where we get a lot of our vegetables and fresh produce right from the state at this time of the year. But pretty soon, it's going to be a whole different ballgame. So I hope that Americans get off their BUTTs and start to go and do these jobs, because we need that, right? We need food. And we need people to go out and do the jobs. And safely, of course, right? Safely. I guess the only other thing that I really have in the news is that the CDC released all these guidelines that everybody's been waiting for. And I don't know that there's really anything new there, right? Social distance, 6 feet apart, wear a mask. And the pictures they kept showing are pictures of all these parks. Like, if you go outside, you got to stay in these bubbles, right? And they have these 6-foot bubble or circles painted with 3 feet apart all around it, right? So people are literally going to the park, sitting down and reading a book or sunbathing or doing whatever, but they have to stay in the 6-foot circle. And then all the other people around them, there's one person in the 6-foot circle. So it's kind of wacky, but at least people are getting outside. All right, let's do a quick This Day in History. And my son just texted me. Sorry. So this day in history. On this day in 1901, Cuba became a protectorate of the United States after the Cuban-American War, the Spanish-American War. We took over Cuba. We forced them to pass the Platt Amendment, which basically says that America has a say over what you do. And a lot of people say this is truly when American imperialism begins, but it had begun a long time before this. This is what really, I think, turns us into a real world power, because we had beaten Spain in a war, another world power. On this day in 1942, and I thought this was very interesting but very sad, Anne Frank gets her diary, right? So on this day, it's Anne Frank's 13th birthday, and she gets her diary,
which, has become immortalized. Long before John F. Kennedy became president, he served in the Navy in World War II, and he was a part of a heroic mission. And on this day, he was awarded in 1944. He was awarded a medal from the Navy for his gallant actions. On this day in 1963, Medgar Evers, one of the big civil rights lawyers, is assassinated on his front lawn. Coming home. I believe he's actually coming home from a rally. And on this day in 1967, states were told by the Supreme Court ruled 1967 that states could not ban interracial marriage. Think about that. 1967. There are still states trying to ban interracial marriage in 1967, 6 years before I was born. So the Supreme Court ruled that, nope, you can't do it. On this day in 1987, one of the, it's not the end of the Cold War, but it marks a sign as to the end of the Cold War. Ronald Reagan gives this speech and says to Mikhail Gorbachev, tear down this wall, right? It's time for the Berlin Wall to come down. And 2.5 years later, the wall does come down. And then on this day in 1994, kind of hard to believe that. That was a long time ago. That was my junior year in college. And I remember we were hanging out. I was working at a summer stock theater, and we were all hanging out. We kind of had an easy day, and I think we had the next day off. And we were, not a lot of us, maybe 8 or 9 of us were having a party at my house and cooking, barbecuing, and everything. And this is the day that Nicole, what's her full name? I don't remember her middle name, but Nicole Simpson and Ronald Goldman, right? O.J. Simpson's ex-wife and Ronald Goldman were murdered. And the whole O.J., chase will happen soon after. And that was the night of the party. And boy, was that crazy watching that white Bronco tear up the highway as they were chasing him. What a whole, just such a wacky time that whole O.J. Simpson court case. So wacky. Anyways, that's all I have for you tonight, guys. Great Friday night. We got a lot more reading done. No reading tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Saturday. And then next week we will begin. We'll go, what did we say? Sunday, Tuesday, Friday. So we'll be back Sunday night to read. And Sunday, Tuesday, Friday. And we'll keep that up for, at least until this book is done, and we'll see where we are in the summer. But we're moving through the book pretty quickly. I think what we'd probably be done by the end of the month. Maybe we'll read a book in July and June. I'm not sure. I was actually thinking about maybe trying to find some short stories. But anyway, we are almost done. We are just about to cross the finish line of the marathon. I think for the most part, people have been doing a pretty good job. Do not try to sprint at this point. We're almost there. Take your time, and we will get there. Okay? Be good, guys. I miss you. Have a good weekend. Have a good, couple of days. Weather's going to be nice. A little chilly, but nice. So I'll catch up with you Sunday night. Be good.